Welcome to Tony's Bonsai. Today I'm working on my Yamadori collected hazel. I think I need to do something fairly major with it today, although I'm unsure yet. I think we need to take a look. I love the way that the trunk slopes across. It's got some really nice character to it, and it's got some excellent branches, and it's had a really healthy year. This base is the best part. It's got a lovely spread, and it's got some nice roots even coming in all directions, so it's developing quite a nice nabari. Looks good from here, and you can see this was a large branch that I removed, and it's callousing over well, as hazels do. They're very tough plants. I mean, small removals like this have calloused over in, it's like 7 or 8 months that's done, and this will be done in another year or two. So they heal really well. I removed a lot. You can see there were some large branches removed, another one over here, another one here. I took a lot of branches off, and it still had a really good year. So they're pretty much bomb-proof hazels. And the reason I'm finishing on this angle is because I want to have a look at this branch here. I will remove these one at a time, because once this first one's been removed, I can always take a look and see if I'm going in the right direction. But I definitely want rid of this, so that can go. This back one's definitely going, so we'll get rid of that, because there is the possibility of keeping this and just taking that lump off at the front. So I will do that first of all. We've got nice buds. We've got loads of buds on this plant. It's a really healthy one. I'm being greedy again there. So there's the possibility that I could just carve all this down . And then I might want to keep, it's really hard that, because that's very old wood in the centre there. Now, I may actually want to keep this. So it's a bit of an unknown at the moment. You just have to kind of work your way down and make that decision. There's a nice little bud under there. I might keep that if I decide not to remove this branch. So from the side where I am here now, it's hard to tell what I should go on, so I'm just moving around, coming behind the camera to take a look. There. And to me, it's still very, very heavy, and it's just too heavy for me, that. I don't like the look of it. There are so many buds on these hazels. You really can sculpt them, and it's not hard to grow. You can see there's buds everywhere, so it won't be difficult growing new branches in a new structure, but growing them where I want them. But yeah, it's better with this gone. It's going to be a sizable wound. Very hard actually, this wood. I'm surprised. I thought it might have come off a bit easier than this. Right, so I definitely do want this taking right back and sort of carving down. This is the kind of more extreme side of bonsai that I really enjoy. The sort of creative side where I almost feel like a sculptor. You know, you can call me the Da Vinci of bonsai if you like, but I'll leave that up to you. Although more people on the comments call me the Fred Dibner of bonsai. So maybe there's something in that. Right, so that's really come down nicely there, that. I'm happy with that. I just want to take a little bit more off this edge, just to remove some of the weight off there. And with some trees I would be bothered about creating such a massive wound as this, but as you've seen, hazels, they're so tough. They're not far off, I suppose. You could call them pretty much weeds in many ways. Ah, that's better there. Just need a bit of weight on the front. I want a nice clean finish to this because I want it to roll over and heal up nicely, which it will do. There. I think that looks really good. I'm very happy with that. And then I'm looking from behind the camera, so there's just, now that I've seen from behind the camera, there's just this lump here that's kind of spoiling that line. And so I'm going to take it off. Like that. It's got a nice healthy branch above it, this, to pull the sap up. So it should callus over nicely in the next 12 months. Oh, that was a good one. You've really got to do this kind of work if you want to have trees like this looking good in the long run. Right, back behind the camera now to have a look. I'm guessing that this bit here is going to be sticking out, so if I can just clean that up, that'll be good. There. So hopefully there now I've developed what will be quite a nice line, is my thinking. Lovely. That works well, that. So all I do after that then is apply some cut paste. You can see from this angle it's a fairly decent sized wound. Not a problem at all. Put a nice liberal coating of my cut paste on. Just to seal that in, and it's a nice dry day today. This cut paste that I use, which is this Japanese one, it's got a hole in the side there. It takes about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours for it to kind of set. So ideally, you don't want to do it and you don't want to do it if it's going to rain in the next half a day. So I start with something like this, and in 12 months that will look like this, and it'll blend in and become part of the tree. And you won't see it in 2 or 3 years. These hazels, they're so sort of vigorous and fast growing. I've just noticed that this year the tree actually put a couple of these little catkins out. Gorgeous. Very nice. But they're not needed this year, but I suspect I'll get a lot more next year, so I'll get rid of them. Now that that chop's been made, I do feel like this looks a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner on that edge. And the overall proportions of the tree just seem a lot stronger to me. There is a question to be had with this branch though, where I've got 3 coming from one space and probably one of these needs to go. I was tempted to ask you which one of these 3 needs to be removed, but it's too obvious. This big mark here where I previously removed a branch, I don't like that big awful swelling there. So this is a natural branch to just get the chop. So there she goes. I'll just cut that back into this one, nice and tight, and that can just have some cut paste on it. So that's that sorted. Again, that's cleaner, I like that. Again, that's simplified this part of the tree and just made it a lot cleaner and a lot more simple, which I like. Next issue, we've got a long weird branch, and it's this one. It extends out. I left it to grow last year because I wanted to allow the health into this branch to help heal this wound. But it set lots of new buds out along here, so now is a good time to just cut that back. While I've been filming, one thing you may notice are all these buds on the hazel, and to me they look like they're kind of swelling. I know it's the wrong time of year, but they almost look like they're going green and starting to turn into leaves. I hope not, because that wouldn't be good. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. In terms of the pruning on the rest of the tree, this is kind of normal sort of bonsai work. Well, it's all normal bonsai work, but this is kind of pretty standard, just cutting back to buds to remove some of the very elongated branches. Like this is just too long here. I've got some really nice buds and branches further back, so I'm just doing some basic pruning and trying to improve the structure of the tree. This one's very long with nothing happening, so I'll just take it back to there, and that'll probably produce buds. And you know, I love doing this kind of pruning. Very peaceful and relaxing. And I don't want to take too much out of the tree, so this branch here that I've just removed the large section from, I want that to really heal up well. So I won't touch any of that branch. This whole branch will just be left for another 12 months to help pull the sap up, to heal these wounds. You know, you've got to think in this way when you're working on trees. You know, what is it you're wanting to achieve from the work that you're doing? And what I'm doing here in terms of removing some of these branches is I'm trying to improve the appearance of this section of the tree, which is right. That's what I want to do. But there's no point doing that if it's going to cost you sort of the health of the tree. So I'm pleased with that now. I think that's looking beginning to look quite good. I won't apply any wire. I don't think there's any need to apply any wire to this tree now. I think that can just be left for another season to grow and just settle in. You know, it was only collected less than a year ago, so that can have another 12 months, put some nice growth on, do some more healing, and particularly from the image that I'm going to show you now, I think that works well. This branch may want to possibly come down in this direction. In fact, I think it does. If that can just come down there. I like that. So I think I will apply 2 pieces of wire just to get those branches down. I've applied a nice thick piece of aluminium wire to this branch, I decided to leave this one alone because I think it'll be better if these are both on different levels. And I simply want to just move that down like that, and add a little bit of movement into it laterally as well. So I'll just add a slight bend to it. But yeah, I like that. I like the way that it's now on a different level to this branch, which is coming up here. This one is kind of coming down and filling this space here, which I think works really well and balances with this branch over this side. And obviously this one here will sprout. I've also applied the other end of that wire to another branch at the back. Even though I opted not to prune anything off this branch because I've just made that large cut, one piece of wire on here to just allow me to fill this space here and create a different level puts that branch into a lovely position there. I just couldn't resist it. I had to go for this because it's just too good an opportunity to miss at this stage to get this nice youngish branch into a nice spot. I feel like this structure's developing really nicely now, and I couldn't resist just adding one more piece of wire to this branch and to this one. It was really this branch that I wanted to move primarily because it's kind of coming from underneath this branch, which is okay, but by just bringing it like that, it just nicely fills this space. I can add a bit of twist to it, and that's just filling this space really nicely. The other end of that piece of wire that I used to do the branch that I just wired was up here, and I was going to bend it, and then I thought, do you know, this one here also could benefit from just a slight tweak. It doesn't need a lot, so I put another piece of wire on, and I'm thinking if this can just, instead of coming up here, if this can come and fill this kind of backspace like that, it's just in a much nicer position, and this branch has a bit of movement to it. I wanted to do that one first so I can then look at this and decide, does that need anything at all? Or it doesn't need much. It doesn't need much at all. But what I will do is, it comes up fairly straight and then it bends kind of across. So what I can do is I can just exaggerate that by taking it that way to exaggerate that bend, and then taking that back that way. So I'm just adding some extra interest to that section. I don't need this extra piece, but I'll just wrap that up there. So yeah, it's just added a little bit of extra something. People often overlook hazel as bonsai because of the larger leaf size, but I'm happy to grow a tree like this just for the winter image. I think it's developing really nicely, considering it's not even a year out of the ground. It's developing into a fairly nice tree, and as I develop these different areas or pads within the structure of it, I think it's going to go nicely. This will just go in the garden. I'll give you an update on it in the spring to show you how it's coming along. If you'd like to follow the progress of this and my other trees, you know what to do. Apart from that, as always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.